Yes, now I'm going to make profit on each and every trade that I make in stock market. Do you want to know the magic pill which I just ate? To know about this company, check out the full video. Hi guys, Rachana Ranade here and I welcome you all to a video after a long break. I really enjoyed my 10-15 days holiday and here we are back with one of the favorite series which you have given so much love to, and that is a top 2 sectors or top 2 stock series. In today's video, we are going to cover top 2 stocks in the pharma space. You might be wondering that Rachana has already made this video. Why a video again? This is about top 2 stocks from the mid-cap range. Okay, 2 basic things to be understood before we move on. Number 1, because we are going to cover mid-caps, always remember mid-caps are a little bit risky. As far as investing is concerned, the stock prices may fall when market falls. The crash can be pretty big and even the recovery can be a little bit slow. Okay, number 1. And number 2, if I'm going to talk about pharma, there are certain terms which we have to understand. And these terms we are going to cover in the immediate next section. So as usual, let's try to learn something new. Before I talk about which are the top 2 stocks in the pharma space, mid-caps, let's try to understand certain terms which are very oftenly used while doing analysis of the pharma sector, right? So number 1 is the API. Now what is API? API is an active pharmaceutical ingredient. This is like the key element in any medicine which has that therapeutic effect, okay? So just as an example, if you take a crocin tablet, is crocin killing your headache? No, it is the paracetamol inside that which is actually giving relief for the headache. So what is paracetamol? Paracetamol is nothing but the API, which is the active pharmaceutical ingredient, right? Let's come to the second term, which is NDA. It's a new drug application. So what is drug as in medicine? Okay. So what is a new drug application? So any pharmaceutical company, if they want to come up with a new medicine, do you think it will happen something like this? They try to make a drug and they feel that yes, it's done and now start selling. No, it doesn't happen that way. They'll have to do a lot of trials inside their lab. Once they are satisfied with that, then they'll start doing certain trial on animals like rats maybe. Then they'll try to do human trials. Okay, after multiple clinical trials, they'll have to submit an application to various authorities. One of the most strict authorities is in USA. This is the US FDA. And what is US FDA? US Food and Drug Authority. Okay, they look into all the research that has gone behind making this product. They actually do a lot of testing by themselves as well. They check whether all these testing was properly done or not. And once they give a thumbs up, then the product can be actually, enter into the market. Okay, so what is this NDA? NDA is nothing but the testing has been done, the clinical trials have been done. It is now pending for approval at the authorities' end, right? What if the authority disapproves? Entire expenditure goes down the drain. Okay, it would lead to a huge expenditure which goes without any revenue generation. Okay, that is about the NDA. What is DMF? DMF is a drug master file. So this is the third terminology we are talking about. What is a drug master file? It is nothing but like a master file which contains all the details about what? About a lot of confidential information about the facilities, processes, the articles which are used in the medicine. It contains how it was processed, how it was packaged, how it was stored. All in all, details are contained in the DMF. Okay, assume that the company actually files the new drug application. What happens next? The authorities may give it a final yes. Okay, after this, they get a patent. Okay, patent could be for like 10 years, could be for 20 years. Let's assume it is for 20 years. Now, let's take this example of crocin. By the way, crocin is manufactured by a company known as GlaxoSmithKline. Okay, so assume that crocin was the first medicine which got this as a patent, okay, for headache and all that. Okay, this is just an example. Now what will happen that any other company other than GlaxoSmithKline will not be allowed to enter into this space. They'll have absolute monopoly for how many years? 20 years, assuming that the patent is for 20 years. Now what happens after 20 years are over? After 20 years are over, all the competitors can come in and can sell their own products which will be fighting the same disease. So just as an example, Calpol is like a competitor. It can be used as a substitute for crocin. They can also enter into the same space now. Okay, so this basically, this category is called as a generic drug then. Now, what is a generic drug? A generic drug is something which is allowed as a substitute, which is sold in the market after the patent period is over. In our example, after 20 years, a medicine which is introduced in the market as a substitute for the medicine which had received that approval, okay, this new medicine will be called as a generic medicine. Okay, let's move on to the last terminology, which is ANDA, which is the abbreviated new drug application. Now, what is ANDA? I'll quickly read it out for you. An abbreviated new drug application contains data which is submitted to FDA for the review and potential approval of a generic drug product. I just told you what is a generic drug product. Once approved, an applicant may manufacture and market the generic drug product to provide a safe, effective, low-cost alternative to the brand name drug it refers to. In simple words, now what is happening is that when a company comes up with an ANDA, an abbreviated new drug application, do they have to again go through the clinical trials? No. Why? Because it contains the same ingredients in almost the same proportions as well. So it is as good as a company which comes up with this ANDA. Okay, they save a lot of money on the trial process. Okay, they need not do any human trials or any clinical trials as such if the ingredients, the proportions match. Okay, so I hope ANDA is also absolutely clear. These terminologies are clear, agreed. But what about that tablet which I took in the very first part of the video? You might be wondering what might be the API, the active pharmaceutical ingredient in that tablet. That specific ingredient which was giving the therapeutic effect, that was nothing but lots and lots of fundamental analysis and technical analysis. Okay, then you might be wondering, which is that authority which has given approval for that tablet? This is the authority which has given the approval. This is the US FDA, CRR has given the approval for that. Okay, and what about the clinical trials? Clinical trials, doing the trial on you all. I'm doing the trial on my students, right? So when all of them have given me consent that yes, all your theories are working, that is where I finalize any theory and I put it in front of you. So let's start with the economy analysis for pharma sector. It's very amazing to note that out of the total global demand for vaccines, India actually supplies 50% of the vaccines which are required all over the world. If I'm talking about generic medicines, our total export of generic medicines accounts for 20% of the total global demand. So it's amazing. It makes us feel proud that out of the vaccines requirement, the global requirement, India supplies 50% of the total requirement. And for the generic medicines, India actually supplies 20% of the entire requirement. If I'm talking about a country-specific demand, as far as USA is concerned, whatever is the total need of USA for generic medicines, India actually gives 40% of the total requirement of USA. And if I'm talking about UK, whatever total number of medicines are required by UK, India supplies 25% out of that. Of course, in the current COVID-19 scenario, now you can understand that how much scope India has for meeting the total global demand. In fact, it is said that the entire pharmacy sector has a potential to grow at 22.4% growth rate. So now you can understand how much growth, in fact, the entire mid-cap space in the pharmaceutical sector has. So let's start with the very first company, and the name of the company is Ajanta Pharma. Now, what does the company do? The company is a specialty pharmaceutical company which develops, manufactures and markets what? Quality finished dosages. But quality finished dosages of what? They make various medicines in cardiology, which are related to dermatology, which are related to ophthalmology, which are related to pain management systems. Okay, so they are into all specialty segment. In fact, they are also gradually building their presence in United States of America. If you remember the very first slide wherein I had mentioned that India actually caters to such a huge demand of USA. So I think this is a very big positive for Ajanta Pharma. In fact, if I'm talking about Ajanta Pharma, they have many of their products which are available on shelf in New Jersey, which is actually called as the pharmacy hub of USA. I told about this company selling its products in USA, but let's just understand how is their overall revenue breakup as far as all the geographies are concerned. So this can be explained with the help of this pie chart very easily. You can see here that out of the total revenue that this company generates, 30% is from India, 20% is from USA, 24% is from 19 countries in Africa, and from rest of the Asia, which is almost 10 countries I'm talking about, it is 26%. So let's talk about the top positive points of Ajanta Pharma. Okay, I'm going to distribute this in 3 parts. They have 30 ANDAs which are already approved. You know what is ANDA? Abbreviated New Drug Application. 30 ANDAs they already have. 22 ANDAs are under application. They are in process. They are yet to receive a final nod from the US FDA, and 10 to 12 additional ANDAs they are about to file in the current financial year. So very big positive point. More and more ANDAs is going to add up to the top line. The revenue is going to increase if more and more ANDAs are received by them, right? I mean, more and more approvals they get, more and more ANDAs given, more and more approvals, and more revenue. That's how the stream will go ahead. Number 2, it is comparatively cheaper. It has a lower PE as compared to the industry PE. Third, they have good operating margins, and I feel one of the most important points, their debt to equity ratio is almost 0. Let's talk about the negative points. I feel the topmost negative point is that there is a share pledge. And how much? 16.15% of the shares. Total how many shares? Out of 70.51% shares which the promoters have, they have pledged 16.15% of the shares. Number 1. It's a pretty big negative point. Second one is that they have falling ROE and they have falling ROCE. ROE is return on equity. ROCE is return on capital employed. And the third negative is that they have to get a lot of US FDA approvals. And as I mentioned, see why this is a negative point, because if US FDA's doesn't give an approval for their medicine, what happens? It is going to directly impact their revenue. Now let's understand a financial snapshot which is very much available in their annual report. Let's talk about ROCE and RONW. ROCE is return on capital employed and RONW is return on net worth. You can very clearly see that both are going down and are stabilizing in the last 2 years. So typically you can see that there was a continuous drop in the last 4 years, and in the latest year it has seen a little bit of uptick. That is about ROCE and RONW. Now let's talk about the next 4 graphs, which is total income, EBITDA, net profit, and cash profit. You can see in all 4 cases there is a typical feature that it's more or less increasing except 1 year. And which year is that? It is year 2019, which saw a dip, and in the year 2020 it is recovering a little bit. But if I talk about the last one, which is book value you can see is continuously increasing in the last 5 years. Well, let's move on with our second company, which is Natco Pharma. Now, what does Natco Pharma do? It's into developing, manufacturing, and marketing of finished dosages products. Okay. Now, you might be wondering, this is same like Ajanta Pharma. What is different? Different is that they are also into APIs. Do you remember what is API? Active pharmaceutical ingredients. The Croatian example, right? Now, what do? They have APIs they have more than 50 APIs, in fact, and oncology is their key therapeutic domain. They are also entering into a broader base where they are going into domains like central nervous system, pain management, and CV care. In fact, they are also having a very good partnership model in the United States, and they have partnered with various partners like Sun Ranbaxy, Acetorizing, Alvogen Teva, Mylan, Actavis, Lupin, Breckenridge Pharmaceuticals, and DRL. Let's understand this company's geographical segment revenue breakup. That's how their pie chart looks like. If we check this, India contributes to 39.41% of their total segmental revenue. USA contributes to 41.73% of the revenue, and rest of the world is 18.84%. So here you can clear-cut have a vision that as far as India versus rest of the world, their exports are much higher than the domestic consumption. If we talk about the top 3 positives of this company, number 1, we can tell that they have 51 cumulative ANDAs and 45 cumulative DMFs All these terms they have covered right now. Okay, as of 31st March 2019. Number 2, they have very good operating margins. And number 3, the company is almost a net debt-free company. Well, negative points are not that much, but they are very close, very similar to Ajanta Pharma. The ROCE is decreasing and ROE is also decreasing. Let's do a quick financial snapshot analysis. If I talk about the revenue, EBITDA and PAT, what is happening? The revenue is increasing, agreed, but the rate at which it is increasing is lowering a little bit, right? The steepness of the graph, you can see the steepness is a little bit less in the last 1 year, right? If I talk about PAT, same thing. If I talk about EBITDA, same thing. It is increasing, but the pace at which it is increasing is lowering a little bit. And the same point which I talked about in negatives, if you check out ROCE and ROE, both in the last 1 or 2 years are decreasing a little bit. It's easily understandable. Don't forget to join me live on 7th of September at 9 p.m. That is where I'm going to solve your doubts regarding this video. But where will you ask your doubts? You can ask your doubts in the comment section. You can also ask me your doubts during the live Q&A session on 7th of September. Till then, take care, and also let me know if you're liking the series or not, and I'll be more than happy to do more and more videos for top 2 companies in various sectors in the mid-cap space. Okay, till then, share this video, like this channel, subscribe to this channel, do whatever you want. Jai Hind and bye-bye.